All right, right here we got a classic case of leaf spring smashed through the truck bed. We're gonna start off with fixing this leaf spring. Looks easy enough, 2 bolts, but it's not really. These bolts like to seize to the inside sleeve of the shackle. Here's our new shackle here. So before I even try anything, I'm gonna heat these nuts off. Sometimes they come out, sometimes they don't, but that's the best thing to do is just start off with some heat. We gotta get these 2 off, but the bolts come out that way for some stupid reason. And you got this in the way and this in the way. You just can't get to them. But let's get the nuts off first. Go ahead and skip ahead if you're not interested in this. I see a lot of these rust out and smash through the truck bed. Not my first time doing this. Ooh, that's toasty. There's one. So let's see if it'll budge. Grab a hammer. Yeah, they don't like to budge. It's just what they do. The shackle comes with 2 new bolts, so I'll probably end up chopping this guy off. Let's get the other nut loose. Yeah, the head of the bolt just so rotted off on the other side. I mean, I'm not going to be able to get anything on it, really. I would like to spin it, but not going to be able to do that. Here. That's a 21 millimeter deep well socket, by the way. Let's heat her up some more. See if she'll come free now. There we go. There's phase one complete. These guys are not gonna budge out of there. They're just not gonna. Let's cool off that rubber bushing. If you're gonna replace your rubber bushing, you're probably gonna need like a ball joint press, or take the whole leaf spring out and put it in a press. They do not come out of there. Or replace the leaf spring. Do something like that. There we go. See what happens when we hammer on the other one. Yeah, completely seized up in there, as expected. Time to move on to the next step. All right, I went with chopping off the bolt head on the back. Check it out. Chopped her off. Didn't cut through any of that metal there. So after that, I put a 10 millimeter. Let's see our 10 millimeter here. 10 millimeter goes on the end of these bolts. And I got it spinning. Luckily, it was spinning free of the inside sleeve. There's a metal sleeve. See if we can see that on the new one. Right there, that's metal. They like to freeze to that. This one broke free. So that's good. I don't have to chop the whole thing in half to get it to break free. I've got a little extra on the end there. So now I got to chop that off so that I can hammer it through out this way, because if we hammer straight back, we hit this. Unless you want to cut a little hole there, but I'm not doing that. So we need to cut that off flush so that it'll go through. There's just too much extra slag on it. So let's get her cut off. And then we will have one bolt extracted. All right, we got our bolt out of there. Chopped off. Now we got this guy. So we don't want to hurt our bushing unless we want to replace it. So heating it up and trying to get it to spin and break free. If I turn this wrench, it moves a little bit, but it takes the bushing with it. So we don't want to spin it. And we can't really torch on this backside, chop the head off like we did on the bottom one. I mean, there's a little space up between the frame and bed, but not much. Not very fun spot to torch. But we got to get this guy free spinning. I mean, you can soak it down for days and days and work it. Maybe that'll work for you. I don't know. I don't know. So that's how I got the bottom one off. Let me work on this top one. All right, we got the top one broken free. See, she spins on both sides. I took my torch to the head of that bolt in between this bracket right here. Was able to get it in there, get it hot. And then I put I sprayed down the bushing on this side, put a washer on there to keep the heat. This washer was all the way up against the bushing to keep the flame off the bushing. Then took my ratchet with the 10mm with a breaker bar on it and started spinning, and it broke free from the inner sleeve on me. Now I've got my stand here, lifted that leaf spring up so the bolt can come out through the back. I'll give it a couple hammer blows. So if you don't have a stand, you can use like a chunk of wood with a jack. That's a little dangerous. You can just set the vehicle on the ground so that the suspension compresses. But I've got a stand, so it works out good. So now we're able to get this guy out of there. I'm just gonna give it a few hammer taps. It should go right back. All right, we got our first bolt in on the new shackle. I still got to lift it up with my hoist stand here. And the bolt is through. Went through the back side on that top one. On this bottom one, I'm just going to put the bolt in through this way. It makes a lot more sense. It shouldn't hit on this right here. So we bring that stand down, line it up with the holes in the mount, put the bolt through, tighten both nuts. We're good to go.